This is going to be on a small subject, but it's something that often bothers me a lot every time I go to school. In a classroom setting when doing your work, you hear this obnoxious sound like this. Like that. Like those people who play those guitars or those ukuleles. You know who you are. Constant playing from these acoustic guitars and ukuleles. Like, even if you are good, you should not be. If you want to take it to school with you and show your friends, okay. But do not play it while in a classroom. In a classroom, you're doing your work, and all of a sudden you hear like that. That ever happens to you? If this ever happens to you, watch this skit.
And that's how we get to 1,000 watts. Devin, why don't you take a step outside? You know what, Chambers? We'll take care of it. Oh my, I'm so happy my grandmother gave me this guitar. It's so beautiful and nice, and I can't believe she got it handmade from Italy. Grazie. What? So many of you kids out here in the school playing randomly. Hey, bro, those real quick? Yeah. Thank you. Wait, what are you gonna do with those? Dude, joke's on you. Once you go to the Guitar Center or replace this, it'll sound more beautiful and loud than ever. Oh, really? You'll replace those, right? Wait. What the heck, man?
That's what the heck it is.
Robert, if you screw this shot, I'm gonna kill you.
Now, in my defense, when I was in school, I brought this with me at all times. I really brought this with me at all times. Just because I wanted to show it to everyone. But I didn't play it in a class unless we had a free period or we had time left in class. So the bottom line here is you can take your guitar to school, but don't let it be too much of a distraction to the learning environment. If you catch my drift, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because let me tell you something. Somebody who went to school, a lot of times, I know what goes on. So, yeah, when I see people in bands bring their guitars, it's like, okay, what's going to happen here? But, again, we got to make sure that this does not happen ever again. That's the bottom line. If you don't bring your guitars to school, okay. If not, do what you can. Let's turn on to COVID, where U.S. troops will no longer be required to take those COVID-19 shots. Optionary.
U.S. military forces will no longer be required to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The mandate was eliminated under the National Defense Authorization Act passed by Congress and signed into law last Friday by President Biden.
The change comes following bitter debate in Congress and a major class action lawsuit in the federal courts. New at 6, Mike Gooding takes a look back at how it all unfolded.
As of December 20th, more than 2 million service members were listed as being fully vaccinated. Since the COVID pandemic began, Pentagon leaders argued that the vaccine mandate was necessary.
The Secretary's made it clear that this is a lawful order to receive this vaccine.
Virginia Senator Mark Warner, for one, agreed.
This is not about simply personal rights. It's about you may have personal rights, but those rights don't extend to being a health hazard for folks that you work with.
But by year's end, the $858 billion 2023 National Defense Authorization Act included an 11th hour surprise, a Republican-driven provision to rescind the vaccine mandate.
These are people we spend millions of dollars training that they've just been casting aside as of no use. These are valuable people. We need them in our military.
The first federal lawsuit was filed in November 2021 by 35 active duty Navy SEALs and 3 reservists, claiming the military was infringing upon service members' First Amendment freedoms.
You know, our mission is to defend religious liberty for everybody. And that includes those who are still in the Navy and fighting to stay in the Navy. We absolutely, and that's exactly what our class action does.
In all, more than 8,400 troops have been forced out of the military for refusing to obey the order. It is unclear if they will be reinstated. Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
So that's some very good news for those who are in the military. But if you're still traveling to China, you're still required to take that COVID test. If you want to travel to China too, you got to test negative.
Well, starting in 1 week.
That's just in 1 week, so we'll keep you posted. Up next here, an issue it's in every single one of our schools. It's really all about disrespecting your teachers. Then later, more of the Wenatchee sex ring. Are the words coming from the child, or was someone putting those words in the child's mouth? Stay with us. If you're the one to disrespect your teachers, this is an issue for you. It's happening all over. A lot of kids are either smart mouthing or disrespecting their teachers in a disrespectful tone. Respect is an act of kindness, and all the teachers out there have a diploma for the Creighton University or college, and they paid their dues. Respect is an act of kindness, so please just show in the classroom, do what you're told, do this and this, and then you'll be successful. Take a look. Take a look at this skit from 11 years ago.
So tell me about these classroom experiences.
They come in late every day. They have their headphones on. They're wearing hoods. They don't even listen. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I feel so weak. Can I have your attention for like 5 seconds? Okay, guys, so as you know, the tickets for the spring fling are going to be on sale starting Tuesday for seniors and juniors.
2,
Alright,
1. Mr. Chambers, that was more than 5 seconds.
Alright, I know we haven't done work for about a week in here, but today I'm going to have you guys get out your silent reading books from underneath your desks and start reading on page 59 right now.
Chambers, you know books are for chumps.
I haven't read since the 4th grade. So
What kind of language is this? Oh my god! Really? He asked her out! Oh my gosh, finally! Okay, so how did he do it? I am not kidding. He bought me a car and then asked me out. On a boat! That is so exciting! I cannot believe he did that. I mean, I have to give him a chance. What if he's the one? Is he the one? I don't know. I'm not even thinking about marriage yet, but... What's up? Hey.
Alright, guys. I'm sick of the horseplay. We're going to do tomorrow's lesson today. Alright?
What?
So get out. Alright, guys, start copying this down.
Give me that piece of paper. Hey, man, you know it. I told you. Give me another one, man. Give me another one.
Hey, you got it, bro. You got it.
You got it. Sit down. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. Heave! Woo! That's it. I've had enough.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Leave! What do you guys think? I'm more of a lefty or a righty?
Chambers, have you gone completely insane?
Like a fox.
Guys, I think we drove him overboard.
These kids are out of control. You guys messed with the wrong teacher today. You thought I was weak. You messed with the bull. Well, here comes the horns. Creature, it's time.
Okay.
Oh my god! What in the world? Oh my god, it's back. It's back! Oh my god, someone help her!
Hope they allow cell phones where you're going.
Yikes.
All right, class, now where were we? Product service management.
Chambers, my Hot Pockets are ready.
Okay, so what do we learn from all this? Well, in this case here, cell phones in school, distraction. Throwing paper, that can lead you straight to the office. That can lead you straight to the office. And the bottom line here is this: don't disrupt your class. Period. I don't like when people disrupt class. Especially when people litter. Take a look.
Not litter.
Robert, my main man.
How's it going, Chief?
I've got a new case for you.
I will take care of it.
By the way, I got a new partner for you.
He'll do. I'll take care of this right now.
Littering.
Alright, so, like I was saying, I transferred here from right? And I was able to clean some stuff up down there, but I figured I'd come down here, see what I could do.
This is first day on the job, you know. I think we got some kids littering over here.
Alright, let's do this. Let's go. Guys, where are you going? Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Giving back to the earth directly. Are you playing games with us now? Just saw you litter.
You can pick this up?
I think I'm nothing. Why don't you pick that up for me and throw it in the trash, huh, kid?
Let's go.
That's not like, that's not the same guy. That's my girl.
Robert, you can't keep doing this!
Chief, I will not sack these menaces to be throwing unwanted material on our school grounds. God bless America.
But Rob, I really think you should.
I said God bless America.
Whoa.
Robert, we have not enough room in there.
We'll make room.
We'll make room. I guess the lesson enemy learners, don't let it on the schoolgirls, otherwise don't make you pick it up. We have janitors out there, yes, but I don't want to get into it. Coming up, a skit about cheating and why you shouldn't use cell phones in class. Stay with us. Let me say this. Throughout the years, I haven't said this about the years we talked about education, but I will say this. Any suspicious activity going on in every school, in every classroom, on the news, everywhere, I will talk about it and I will deal with it. Just like Rob. Any suspicious activity going on in school on a campus, he will seek it out. That's what he did 12 years ago. Here's Rob. With 2 skits. This one's about cheating and the cell phone.
So you know, I'm secretly a vigilante, and I just got a call about 2 kids selling cheat sheets for today's Spanish test, so we're gonna go check that out right now. We got some suspicious looking kids right here. Let's check them out. What are you kids doing over here?
What? Nothing.
Nothing, man. Don't look like me.
Get out of here, man. No.
Yeah, you fried dead, you don't.
Just as I thought. Today's cheat sheet.
Do that.
Do you have any idea what this is gonna do to a kid?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Don't lie to me. He can go his entire life not knowing the difference between an infinitive verb and a conjugated verb.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What else is in here, huh?
Nothing, dude. No, no.
Nothing?
Okay.
Let's take a look.
Oh, jeez.
Get a good shot of that. That's definitely tropical fruit.
No, don't blame me, bro. No.
Punk, you better learn your lesson.
I guess the main lesson is don't be selling cheat sheets. Don't be giving out cheat sheets unless... Actually, no cheating at all. And next, and finally, the cell phone kills the kid. Actually, doesn't kill the kid. I mean, you probably know what I mean if you watch this one. Take a look.
So I says to him, I says, that's not an ogre, that's my girlfriend. Oh, check this out. We got a cell phone user in class. Right there. Let's roll.
Don't forget, you guys, if you want to sign up for the UC Personal Statement Workshop that the Career Center...
First in class.
So you thought you made away with it?
What are you interrupting my class for?
I will not stand for injustice.
Okay.
We caught you texting in class.
What are you talking about?
Let's see who you were texting.
New text message received.
Just as I thought.
Great spawn. Okay.
So you were texting him.
It was just a reply.
Just a reply. Okay, it's okay. You're not in trouble, kid. Don't worry. Here, have a lollipop.
Oh, thanks.
Alright, kid, what's your name?
Devin.
Devin, huh? Where do you live?
In a house.
Oh, so we got ourselves a wise guy, do we? Any little wise guys around here, kid? Nice phone. Sorry for interrupting your class.
Next time you interrupt my class, you're going to the office.
Okay. guess the main lesson here in this clip is don't use your cell phones in class. That's the bottom line. And finally, don't be late unless you want to get the pizza sauce. Actually, that's a lesson here. Take a look at this.
You don't want to be late to class today. Dude, what do I care? It's my senior year. Well, and it's not like that Rob kid's gonna show up again.
I don't want to get a tardy.
Son, you know this is your 4th tardy in this class?
This is a referral to the discipline office. I ain't gonna do nothing.
I am the discipline office.
Okay. Give it. Just give it the pizza. Here's pizza.
What did you do?
It's pizza sauce.
Get him back.
You okay?
I'm gonna get him back.
Pizza sauce.
Pizza sauce.
Not pizza sauce.
Not pizza sauce. Alright, I guess the bottom line is don't be late unless you want to give a referral to disciplinary office. Or don't be like Rob. That's just beating the crap out of people. Gosh. I don't want to start the year laughing. But let's get to a serious note here. Coming up, who was putting words into this little girl's mouth? We're gonna hear what the investigator has to say, and we're gonna learn about the investigator and what's gonna happen when they go to court. John Larson continues with the Wenatchee sex ring. Stay with us. Yesterday, I brought you the story of a Wenatchee sex ring that happened. Now, we've heard from the investigator, we've heard from the pastor, we've heard from Bob Devereaux, how they all told their sides of the story, but also heard from the social worker. If you missed the original story, we'll put the link we'll put part 1 in the description below, along with the original story in the description below for this video. What's going to happen next? The nightmare continues, thanks primarily to these allegations of one little girl. But the question is the story believable, or is someone putting those words in the mouth? Once again, here's John Larson.
Child molesters are the lowest form of life. They prey on little children who cannot defend themselves. I'm not the best investigator in the world, but I will take up the cause of these kids, and I will believe them, and I will defend them.
For all his passion, Detective Perez has become a target of criticism.
The devil has just taken over.
And the only sex ring is in that man's head. I mean...
Critics of Perez's investigation wonder why. If so many adults were raping so many children for so many years, why weren't there any accusations until just last year, when Detective Perez took over as sexual abuse investigator? And why did the detective's star witness, D.E., wait so long to begin accusing so many people? Her accusations only began last year when she moved in with a new foster family with a foster father who might surprise you.
When our foster child began to disclose what had happened to her in her home, it was a real shock. It was a real shock.
That's right. D.E., the star witness in the Wenatchee sex ring investigation, began her accusations only after she moved in with Detective Bob Perez, the lead investigator.
Well, let's separate it out, okay? First, from 8 to 4, usually, I'm an investigator for the police department. And from 4 o'clock on, I am just a private citizen in my home. And I'm a parent, and I'm a foster parent.
But it's not that simple. Most of DE's accusations originated during interviews with the detective, not in the police station, but each night in their home, alone.
It got to the point, because there were so many that she wanted to talk about as time went on, and this was after 10 months, 11 months in our home, that I would tell her, look, if you want to tell me about someone, you can tell me about one or two tonight, and then that's it for tonight. And there were just too many, she said. There was just too many.
But there's no way to prove what DE really said. Perez didn't tape any of the interviews. He only took notes. Notes he wrote up, sometimes days later, then destroyed.
Often the devil is in the details.
Cornell University's Dr. Stephen Ceci is an expert in child sex rings. While he hasn't studied the Wenatchee case, he says without a record of the interview, we can never know if the child is simply telling the investigator what she thinks he wants to hear.
Where you have the chief emotional provider in a child's life also providing the key forensic evidence, it creates worrisome boundary crossing issues for me. That person ought not to be the one wearing both those hats.
We're talking about a child that for the first time, and I mean the first time in her life, felt safe, felt loved by someone. And if every single one of these cases that are tied to her testimony go down the drain tomorrow, so be it. Before I would take that child and put her through the trauma of another home and adjusting to something else, they could drop them all.
And Detective Perez says his cases don't depend on DE alone. DE's interviews have led him to other children who corroborate her accusations.
If you just looked at one child's disclosure, it might sound just totally off the wall if you just listen to one. When you look at all of them all together, there's a consistent pattern there.
What usually happens is there's a trigger. One child makes one disclosure at a certain point in time, and it grows from there.
Dr. Ceci says his research with children here at Cornell shows they can be led, even by well-meaning investigators, to say things that just aren't true.
This is what we call creating an air of accusation. We do know this from scientifically controlled studies, that if you pursue kids who did not have the experience using those same techniques, your friends already told me, it's okay to tell, I know you were there, that a certain percentage of those kids will falsely assent.
And that's exactly what critics of Perez say is happening in Wenatchee.
These are given to children that come in here after their interviews are complete, or for them to hold to make them feel better.
Critics say that during these interviews, Perez puts words in the children's mouths. Remember AR, the girl who recanted after she accused Bob Devereaux? She says Perez bullied her until she made false accusations, and she's not the only one.
He told me that I was there because he said that I'd been molested or something kind of like that.
This 11-year-old girl is one of 7 children who have accused Detective Perez of trying to coerce them into making false accusations.
I ain't never been molested.
You told him that, honey, that you've never been molested?
Yeah.
In this tape, made by activists critical of Perez, the girl claims the detective threatened to have her mother arrested if she didn't tell him about abuse.
I was just crying and everything because I didn't want him to go to jail and stuff. And then he kept on asking me a whole bunch of questions.
Police did charge the girl's mother, Donna Rodriguez, with child rape. The girl says she was so afraid of Perez, she made a false statement.
Were you telling the truth, or were you just agreeing with him?
I was just agreeing with them.
Detective Perez says he's not coercing anyone. He says it's his critics who are intimidating witnesses into recanting and slandering him.
They can scream as loud as they want, and they can beat me up all day long in the press, okay? I'm a big boy, I can take it, okay? But they better not hurt these kids.
But it's not just children. Adult suspects Dateline interviewed claimed Perez tried to bully them into confessing, even lied about what they said. Listen to Bob Devereaux.
Did he suggest that you say certain things?
He told me what I had done,
He didn't ask me what I'd done. He told me what I had done. And he wanted me to confess to it.
Devereaux says adults who have never been in his home are accusing him because they caved in to Perez's bullying.
Was Linda Miller ever over here?
No, she's never been over here.
I don't know what happened. I just know that I named people that I don't even know, never met, couldn't recognize them on the street, other than to say it was the worst day in my life.
Linda Miller has a history of psychological problems. She did confess to raping children, but she says Perez told her what to say.
Every time I said something, he called me a liar and says, I know when you're telling me the truth because I already know the truth. And anything you have to say is irrelevant. And you will tell me the truth or you will never, ever see your children and you'll rot in prison.
The very next day, she took back her confession, but it has still been introduced in several trials.
I'm sorry that people are being falsely accused based on a statement that I should never have signed because it's a pack of lies and it's vicious and it's horrible to be accused.
Linda Miller herself was recently convicted of child molestation. There is evidence that Detective Perez has a history of bullying people. In a 1989 performance evaluation obtained by Dateline, his own supervisors criticized Perez, saying he, quote, likes confrontation and likes having power over people, is developing a reputation of being a hothead in the community, appears to pick out people and target them. The report did say he was generally a good cop with tremendous potential, and coworkers say his recent evaluations have improved.
You'd have to believe again that I, on my own, am running crazy through the streets just arresting people at random because I have nothing better to do. If you can believe that, then let's let them all go. Okay? Or you can believe a 5, 6-year-old, 7-year-old child that will sit here at my desk and clutch a stuffed animal and tell you in graphic detail what happened to them.
It's difficult to know what is true in Wenatchee.
I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
And neither do the people of Wenatchee. Remember Paul Glasson, the social worker who alerted authorities that one of the girls had admitted she lied? Now even Paul Glasson has been named by Detective Perez as a child rape suspect, a charge he categorically denies.
I couldn't understand why this was happening.
That's it. What it was. Who's next?
Detective Perez believes almost 100 people are involved in the sex rings, and there may be more. Prosecutors say the accused will have their day in court, but so would Detective Perez's investigation, which would soon come under intense scrutiny in a dramatic trial.
Still ahead, that trial. Who's telling the truth? And what, if anything, would believe these false allegations from these children? John Larson with the trial and the conclusion to our story. Stay with us. Now the conclusion to our story. You've heard from the investigator. You've heard from Paul Glasson. You've heard from Bob Devereaux. You've heard from Linda Miller. You've heard from that little girl who fessed up to everything, agreeing with the investigator. The day has come. The day has come to where these people were in court. Now remember, one of the accusers named in this trial was D.E. So will they have their day in court, or will someone be jailed? Here's John Larson with the conclusion to our story.
I would have rather been accused of murder. Then you can defend yourself against something. This is a ghost you can't fight.
As the summer came to an end and spring blossoms became fruit, after 5 months of accusations and arrests, the first accused church member goes to trial. Hannah Sims, the Sunday school teacher. For the first time, the question at the very center of this story, are the girls, the key witnesses, telling the truth, is being asked not just on the streets of Wenatchee, but in a court of law.
You know the difference between a good touch and a bad touch? I want to be an example of a bad touch.
if somebody touches you where they're not supposed to.
Hidden behind a stuffed bear, D.E., one of the prosecution's 2 star witnesses, testified in Hannah Sims' trial that she and more than 20 other children were molested every week in Pastor Robertson's church basement by as many as 40 adults. At first, her testimony was extremely disturbing.
The guys would take their privates inside of mine.
About the ladies, what would they do?
Put their fingers inside of me.
But under cross-examination by defense attorney Robert Van Sicklen, her testimony appeared to falter. First, she was unable to identify the alleged crime scene.
Are these photographs of the Sunday school classes in the basement? You recognize those at all?
Then, D.E. couldn't provide any details or descriptions of the alleged rapes.
What did you hear when they were touching you?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay. What did you smell when they were touching you?
I didn't smell anything.
Okay. Did the floor have a carpet like we see here in the courtroom, or did it have a bare cement floor? Do you recall?
I don't remember.
It is possible, because of the trauma, that D.E. has no memory of the details.
Could you see their private before they put it in yours?
Yeah.
Yes.
While D.E. does claim to remember being raped hundreds of times, the defense pointed out that she was unable to describe what would seem to be the most obvious detail: what a man's sex organ looks like.
Okay. Can you describe what it looked like?
No, because I don't remember what it looks like.
These jurors say that when the trial started, they assumed the prosecution had solid evidence to justify bringing such serious charges.
I was shocked that there was no evidence. There just wasn't any evidence other than the testimony of the children. There wasn't any kind of hard evidence.
And you found yourself thinking, and that's all?
And that's it. That was it. Yeah, I was shocked.
And jurors noticed something else. On the stand, D.E. sounded innocent and scared. But when she wasn't testifying, she appeared just the opposite, laughing and chatting with social workers in court.
For DE, I saw that she was a little girl who was being led around and really thought it was quite funny that she was there and looked like she was having a pretty good time. And for AS, I saw a cold, hard stare.
When A.S., the other star witness, took the stand, she admitted that she had lied in the past, falsely accusing innocent people of sexually abusing her.
And I didn't find either girl to be very credible at all. It seemed very rehearsed, as though they had told the story many, many times.
You got the sense that D.E. was making up these stories to please her foster father.
I thought they had been suggested to her and she was elaborating on, to please someone.
To please the detective.
The jurors say they reached a verdict almost immediately.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Anna L. Sims, not guilty of the crime related to the child and
I wasn't on trial here.
What was on trial?
This situation, this is going to send the message to Bob Perez himself that he is not above the law.
1 week after Sims was acquitted, prosecutors dropped all charges in another sex ring case involving Donna Rodriguez, the mother of the little girl who accused Detective Perez of coercing her. John Henry Brown, a prominent Seattle lawyer, represented Donna Rodriguez.
No matter how good your case is, an allegation of child abuse is so hard to defend against because people want to believe that children don't lie, which we now know is not true at all. It's like trying to prove you're not a witch.
And in Wenatchee, that may depend on who you are and who represents you. Unlike Hannah Sims, Manuel Rodriguez is a poor Mexican immigrant who speaks no English, who relied on a lawyer paid for by the state.
Is it the verdict of the jury?
Hannah Sims' lawyer convinced jurors that D.E. and A.S. were not believable, but another jury convicted Rodriguez on similar charges.
You, the jury, find the defendant Manuel Hidalgo Rodriguez guilty.
All the people targeted in this case are poor people, are disadvantaged, many disabled poor people. They're easy people to pick on. And anybody now who's putting up a fight is getting their cases dismissed or being found not guilty.
Okay, Mr. Devereaux, please stand.
Remember Bob Devereaux? On September 8th, his lawyer advised him to plead guilty to 2 minor misdemeanors not related to the sex charges. And then, after more than a year, in a stunning about-face, prosecutors dropped all sex charges against him.
I just put myself on the mercy of the court. I think I've been through enough.
Bob Devereaux has been cleared of all sex abuse charges, but he is ruined. He will never again work as a foster father. He had to sell his house, and he left Wenatchee virtually penniless.
We'll be with you in Apple Blossom time.
The Apple Blossom Festival is long over, to return next year. But will Wenatchee be the same? Bob Devereaux's case, so central to the sex ring cases, has been dropped. Jurors in the Hannah Sims trial didn't believe there had been any sex in the church. But prosecutions and convictions continue. The pastor goes to trial next week with new charges, new witnesses. Manuel Rodriguez is serving 6 years, his case on appeal. Linda Miller, also on appeal, is serving 33 years. Paul Glasson, the social worker who blew the whistle, is out of the country, afraid to return to Wenatchee. And the star witness, D.E., now age 11, she was recently charged with malicious mischief after she threw a tantrum in Bob Perez's home. Removed for several weeks for psychiatric observation, D.E. is now back with the detective. But authorities say neither she nor A.S. will testify in any more trials. So what really happened in Wenatchee? There is little doubt that some of the early cases involved actual abuse. But did the investigation then go too far? Relying on confused and disturbed children, intimidating and coercing witnesses? Did authorities, in their zeal to do what was right, do something horribly wrong?
Who's going to stop this? Where's this going to stop? I mean, how can you stop it? Will the children renege and take back all the things they've said? Who's going to stop this?
Probably no one will stop this. Well, just years ago, D.E.'s half-sister pled guilty to an incest charge. She probably denied it. D.E. and the other sisters were probably still in protective custody, so years ago, Dateline was not allowed to interview them. As for Bob Devereaux, he now plans to file a lawsuit against what happened during this case. But in the meantime, the governor is looking into this, and we probably don't know what happened. So my guess is it's probably over. Probably over for good. I'll be back in a moment. We're going to be off on Friday, but here's a story you'll see coming up next week on the broadcast.
So we've had people call in from all over that have been very moved and stated that they knew where they were the day that the President Kennedy was shot. They knew where they were the day that Challenger blew up, and they will never forget the day of the announcement of these 2 children.
Have you cried over this case?
Yes.
Howard Wells and Robert Stewart solved the mystery that for 9 days shocked us all. It was a case of their careers, but there was no cause for celebration.
We're going to make a brief announcement.
I don't think I will ever forget. I was standing by the sheriff's side.
Answered after the statement. The statement is it.
When the sheriff advised the news media as to what had happened.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children.
And the gasp from that crowd when the announcement was made, I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Last night, Wells, the Union County Sheriff, and Stewart, Chief of the State Police, revealed for the first time the inner workings of their investigation. They agreed to talk to Prime Time, but only in the presence of the county prosecutor.
That's next week. Coming up on New Year's Eve, we're going to look back at all the stories we talked about throughout throughout this year, along with the stories that really disgusted me and got me stunned. That's coming up New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So with that in mind, that's Give Me a Break for this Thursday, going into Friday. A reminder, we're off on Friday, so we'll see you again for Give Me a Break Saturday night. For all of us here at Give Me a Break and YouTube, I hope you've had a great day. For all of us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break, have a good night, everyone.